my friends, it's at Game On. It's me, Mario. Woohoo!
Thanks, Super Mario.
Go Game On! Woohoo!
Hello, welcome to Game On, the show that's got more game than bridge night at the retirement home.
Well, that's not very hard, is it?
Aim high, shoot low. Coming up this week.
Grown men wearing dungarees.
Grown men drawing robots.
Subterranean homesick blues with Red Faction Armageddon.
And Johnny gets off to a flying start interviewing the creative director of DJ Hero 2.
It's not always easy being a gamer.
Yep, even in the age of casual players and family-friendly consoles, some people just don't understand us, leaving the dedicated superfans afraid to show their true colours in public.
Happily though, every once in a while, an event comes along that lets the super keen emerge from their bolt holes and
dance around like crazies in the street.
Well, I was going to say sharing a common interest, but they seem to be one and the same, to be honest. So yes, dance around like crazies in the street.
We love Mario, we love Mario.
Yep, nothing gets the Mario faithful out in force like a good old-fashioned game launch.
Oh.
Charles Martinet graced London's Oxford Street this week to officially launch Super Mario Galaxy 2 and meet his adoring fans.
He clearly had no idea what he was in for.
First of all, if you come as
Mario?
Mario 2.
Mario. Yeah, that's fine. Baby Mario.
I'm a show gang.
Toadette.
I've come as Mario. Who's playing with my mum. I do have a mouth, by the way. It's under here.
You realise you may have the worst costume in the queue.
Really?
How long did you spend on your costume?
Well, I got this from eBay. Hey, Mario!
Yes!
Phenomenal.
Apparently, Mr. Martinet eventually managed to leave the store unharmed, at which point the various cosplayers disappeared into the sewer looking for reptiles to brutalise.
And Wario, have a rotten day.
If there's one thing Activision are good at, it's making sequels.
Yeah, when I found out they were making another DJ Hero, I thought that is the least surprising thing I have ever heard.
It's funny you should say that, actually. I met their creative director a little while ago and said pretty much that.
My name's Jamie Jackson and I'm creative director at Freestyle Games.
Now, obviously, if it's all right me saying, you may be creative director on one of the least surprising sequels ever in terms of the fact we knew it was coming. That sounded awkward, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, that was awkward.
Wow, that was special. Give the man a Pulitzer. I mean, that is journalism. Good work, mate. Bravo.
Thanks.
OK, so nobody doubted for a second there'd be another DJ Hero, and sure enough, Freestyle Games have returned to take a second spin on the turntables.
This time around, they're not so much scratching stuff out from the last as fine-tuning the mix they already had.
The biggest problem with DJ Hero 1 was that it failed to capture the same sugary arcade spirit of Guitar Hero. The gameplay was more noticeably prescriptive and offered a stylish but ultimately more sedate experience than its axe-based brother.
Without exactly admitting it as a flaw of the last, several strides have been made in an attempt to address those concerns.
I think the trick is to not try and reinvent the wheel again. I think if you're going to come out with a product like DJ Hero 1, where we were innovating, we were, maybe taking a risk because we were bringing something new into a music genre or social genre. And I think the danger you get into is to go, right, we've got to go back to the drawing board and start again, when actually what you've just got to do is just focus on what was really good, really polish what was really good, and just kind of grow a little bit and not try and go too far ahead of yourself.
If there's one area Freestyle seem to be most focused on, it's in bringing more people to the party. For instance, as they're keen on reminding us they've got 2 turntables and a microphone.
2 turntables and a microphone.
Allowing 3 people to get in on the action at once.
Also, when 2 people are turntabling on the same track, they can engage in a battling call and response type of gameplay that makes each player feel more integral to the experience.
Freestyle Games have also addressed the surprisingly rigid nature of the first title's gameplay, which gave players little opportunity to add their own touch to each mix.
Budding DJs will now be given more opportunities to put their mark on the mashup, though according to Jamie, it was a difficult balance to strike.
You know, with DJ 1, we were really mindful of not overdoing it with the first one. We could have thrown everything at it and got a lot wrong, and I think what we wanted to do is try and throw a little bit and get it right and keep some of the cool ideas we had about creation and stuff for future products. So this time out, freestyle mode, you know, we're really excited about it. We're focused on it for the whole year, and you know, I'd be lying if I say we hadn't thought about it previous to the first one. But what we wanted to do was make it easy to sound good. That was the main thing, you know, because you could give someone something that allows complete creativity and you could sound horrible.
The result of Freestyle's efforts is a revised game model that does seem to allow more creativity, but it's still a closely crafted experience. You can vary the way tracks are mixed more freely with the second iteration, but they've again held back from dropping you in at the deep end with a fully functional crossfader. But any Hero title, as we well know, lives or dies on its soundtrack, and DJ Hero 2's, we're told, is more expansive.
Well, you know, we've got people like Lady Gaga in there, so kind of bringing in really current popular music. Dr. Dre, Chemical Brothers from a dance kind of side, Deadmau5, Kanye West. So we're looking, I guess what happened with DJ, it opened the door a little bit, and there was a broader range of music for us to go for. I think perhaps one thing you could say about DJ 1, it skewed maybe a bit more on the hip-hop side with some of the mixes. And when you look at it, it's only fractionally, but this time we've tried to kind of level that out now. So there's an equal amount of dance and techno or even just pop music tracks as there is hip-hop tracks.
Jamie confirmed for us they weren't going to use any song for more than one mix in the second game. While addressing one of the weaknesses of the original DJ Hero, this of course means they've been able to source enough tracks without having to double up this time, which is a strong testament to the franchise's momentum.
So it seems after gently introducing us to the decks with DJ Hero 1, Freestyle Games are happy to loosen the reins a bit more for the second. However, as always, their focus is still on great sounding music, so they're by no means setting you totally loose just yet.
A famous ad campaign once told us a Mars a day helps you work, rest and play.
Yeah, clearly they'd never actually spent any time on Mars.
They drove us from the surface.
Yep, THQ are gearing up to transport us to our nearest neighbouring planet with the upcoming title Red Faction Armageddon, the latest in the long-running rock-blasting franchise.
The pre-E3 trailer shows how far the story has progressed in the 50 years since the events of Red Faction Guerrilla. Suffice it to say, time has not been kind to those plucky rebels.
We haven't got concrete evidence the EDF are still a factor at this point in the story, but either way, the rebellious forces of the Red Faction have been driven underground after the destabilisation of the planet's atmosphere, taking the gamer back to the caverns where Red Faction first began.
EDF, aren't they an energy supplier?
Yep, but they're also an oppressive and tyrannical military force, obviously.
So what, you might ask? Same old gameplay, just 10 feet further underground. Well, as always, things are just not that simple.
We're no longer the only life on Mars.
Doubtless fans will already be firing up their keyboards ready to rage about Red Faction just copying Dead Space. While yes, we admit the alien beastie teased in the trailer might not look totally out of place on the Ishimura, we should probably remind you that life on Mars is not exactly an unfamiliar topic of conversation anyway, so THQ are probably well justified going down this route.
As well as introducing a brand new type of enemy, we're glad to see the environments looking more interesting than the previous game.
As much as we loved Red Faction Guerrilla, the environments were incredibly samey and not very imaginative.
Well, it is Mars after all. How varied do you think it's going to look anyway?
It's called Creative License, Johnny. I think they have one.
Have we got one?
I think we do. That's our sarcasm license.
Okay.
That's the permit for funny t-shirts. That's the court order preventing you from taking your hands out of your back pockets.
I hate that one. We're hoping THQ will come up with some more details on Red Faction Armageddon over the course of E3, because we're definitely not going down into those caves to find them ourselves.
It's a strange thing, war.
Happens for all sorts of reasons.
Yep, there have been wars for oil.
Wars for independence.
Wars for Cybertron.
Yeah, less traumatic, but still valid point.
Yeah.
Transformers, War for Cybertron
is fast approaching, bringing the eternal struggle between the Autobots and Decepticons to next-gen consoles.
It's released later this month, bringing with it a lovingly crafted campaign and multiplayer experience.
Of course, though, Transformers didn't start life as video game characters, but rather as comic book figures.
And toys.
With their own TV show.
Anyway, this week we got the chance to meet John Davis Hunt, illustrator of the Transformers comic in the UK.
Since he makes his living drawing transforming robots at a professional standard, Johnny did the only sensible thing and challenged him to a drawing competition.
One shall stand.
One shall fall?
Hey, so I'm here with John, comic book artist. Hello, how's it going?
Hiya, all right.
Good. We're going to have a little drawing off, obviously, because I think I'm quite hot, I've got to say, and I understand that you've had some experience in this field.
A tiny bit.
Okay, well, we've got 5 minutes. We've got some reference here of Optimus Prime. We've got some rough kind of sketch lines drawn out already. So if you're ready, I'm ready.
Okay.
Let's go.
Right.
So how exactly did you wind up drawing Transformers? Exactly?
Well, I was always a huge fan when I was younger. I watched the cartoons religiously, saw the film, had like most of the toys. I went to a Comic Con. I was doing some work for 2000 AD at the time, and I bumped into a guy called Steve White, who was the editor of the British Transformers comic. And we got chatting, and he saw my work, liked it, and he asked me to do basically a cover for Transformers. And then after I did that, I started doing strip work, and it sort of snowballed, really.
Do you ever really imagine that this is the kind of thing you'd end up doing?
God, it's what I wanted to do, definitely, but it's hard, you know, you never quite think that the one thing that you really, really want to do is ever going to actually happen.
Sure.
So, yeah, it was, I've always kind of, I'd had several attempts at getting into comics, sort of half-heartedly when I worked in the games industry, and even as far back as when I was at art college as well. But it was only really in the last about 4 or 5 years ago where I decided to really kind of take it seriously.
Does it ever feel like a chore? Do you ever sometimes get in there and think, you know, if there's one thing I wish I weren't doing to draw Optimus Prime?
No, I don't actually. It has been every bit as good. You know, that drawing comics when I was 8 seemed like the best job in the world, and obviously, you know, as you grow up, things change, circumstances change, and you know, reality kind of hits you. But I can honestly say that it is actually as good as I thought it was going to be. And there isn't. I can really honestly say there isn't a day that goes by where I don't kind of wake up and look forward to, you know, look forward to the day. So yeah, it's brilliant, really.
Now, you haven't. I know you haven't seen too much of the game, but what did you think of what you saw today?
Yeah, awesome, really awesome. I mean, I love the fact that it's kind of more of a sort of a G1 game, which is cool. And kind of seeing that it's sort of set on Cybertron, but that's not just an excuse for kind of the levels and backgrounds, that it's actually kind of goes into the kind of mythos of the characters.
Sure.
Yeah, it's really cool as well. And actually seeing it in motion as well, I was really kind of surprised by, you know, how good the graphics were. They look really smart. And also the real cool thing for me is that it's got multiplayer in, because I just want to drive around and transform and then shoot at my friends.
Okay, so that's time, I think, and so it's time for the big reveal. Let's see what we've come up with.
I feel a bit under pressure.
Yeah.
I think yours turned out really well, though, actually, I have to say.
I think I've done.
I think you're doing yourself proud.
Relatively okay. Where would you say that I could improve?
I think in its own way, I don't think you can improve. I think it's perfection in its own right.
In another way, that means I'm doomed to make drawings of this calibre for the rest of my life, rather than stepping up to.
Well, it's just all practice, and I was still drawing after we said time a little bit as well.
That's
so
true.
I basically cheated. I think you win by technicality.
I think I am going to have to win by default. The only way I probably could have won. But thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
The brief masterclass.
Cheers,
it's been
dude.
a pleasure.
Cheers.
John's just being polite, yours was shockingly bad.
It wasn't that bad.
It was terrible, I've got it here, look at it. Ridiculous wavy lines, no perspective whatsoever, and you've managed to make the Transformers logo look like a demented cat. This, on the other hand, his is art.
Yeah, well, I'm not really a Transformers fan, so whatever.
Not a Transformers fan? Remember what t-shirt you put on this morning?
Oh, damn it.
Our defeat would mean the end of everything.
That's it from us for now. We're off to boot up DJ Hero and mash up some potatoes.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
Yeah, we'll do a few sausages as well.
Onion gravy?
Perfect.
More Gaming Ganesh next week.
Transformers War for Cybertron is fast approaching, bringing the internal... Does that work?
Definitely.
Okay.
Though it's War for Cybertron.
Is it?
Yeah.
Transformers War for Cybertron. Do it like that.
Transformers War for Cybertron.
You do it and I'll say it's fast approaching.
Okay. We're hoping THQ will come up with some more details on Red Faction Armageddon over the course of E3.
I love that you didn't notice me doing that through
right.
the entire thing.
I thought you were leaning back to scratch an
no.
itch or something. EDF, aren't they an energy supplier?
Électricité de France.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
A famous ad campaign once told us a Mars a day helps you work, rest and play.
Yeah, clearly they'd never actually spent any time on Mars.
Not a sausage.
Not a sausage of time.
This new creative freedom isn't just confined to the scratching either.
Oh no. As a result, a heavy emphasis is placed on timing at the that joke never gets old.
Also, when there.
Thanks, Charles Martinet. Grown men drawing's hard to say.
It's not always easy being a gamer.
Yeah, it's not always easy saying words.